On August 15, 2025, the world watched as President Trump met Vladimir Putin in Alaska, promising to end Ukraine's nightmare. 3 hours later, the war continued, and Putin walked away the winner. This is the story of how Trump's toothless threats exposed a pattern of empty promises that may have cost Ukraine everything. Throughout his second term, Trump repeatedly vowed severe consequences for Putin if Russia didn't halt its aggression in Ukraine. The war has killed hundreds of thousands and displaced millions since 2022. As early as August 2, 2025, Trump declared Russia would face crippling sanctions if Putin didn't comply with a ceasefire deadline. When that deadline passed, the promised sanctions never materialized. Social media captured growing skepticism. Trump was supposed to punish Putin with sanctions. Instead, Putin and Trump are organizing a summit. The Anchorage meeting was choreographed for maximum spectacle. Trump greeted Putin with warmth, sharing a handshake and even a ride in the Beast, an unprecedented gesture. A B-2 stealth bomber and F-35 jets roared overhead in a show of U.S. military might, yet the display felt hollow. The agenda expanded from one-on-one to include aides like Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, but talks ended earlier than anticipated. Both leaders emerged claiming progress and an extremely productive meeting, yet neither provided specifics. Trump conceded, "We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance." Putin spoke at length about Russia's historical ties to Alaska, framing the summit as a diplomatic coup for Moscow while suggesting a follow-up meeting in Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was notably excluded from talks about his country's fate. From Kiev, he reported Russian drone strikes that killed 7 civilians and injured 17. "The war continues," Zelensky stated, "precisely because there is no order from Moscow that it is preparing to end this war." His absence underscored a critical flaw in Trump's approach. European allies echoed concerns, fearing Trump might negotiate a deal favoring Russia. One official warned, "We are preparing ourselves for an outcome that may be highly problematic." For Putin, the summit was a clear win. His return to U.S. soil, despite an International Criminal Court warrant for war crimes, marked a symbolic end to diplomatic isolation. Russian state media celebrated the handshake as historic, portraying it as evidence of Moscow's restored global stature. Putin made no concessions yet walked away victorious. The Pew Research Center reported that 59% of Americans lack confidence in Trump's decision-making on Russia, with 33% believing he favors Russia too much. The summit's failure has deepened Ukraine's precarious position. Russian forces have advanced near key logistics hubs, and July 2025 marked the deadliest month of the war. A Ukrainian soldier warned, "We don't have to compromise with the enemy and give up our beloved land because this enemy won't stop." This raises critical questions. Can Trump deliver on his promise to end the war, or is he being outmaneuvered by Putin? Should the U.S. prioritize Ukraine's sovereignty? Europe's increasing role in supporting Ukraine signals a shift away from U.S. reliance, especially as Trump has wavered on NATO commitments and military aid. The Alaska summit stands as a stark reminder that bold promises and grand gestures alone cannot resolve one of the most devastating conflicts of our time. Trump's strategy of leveraging personal diplomacy and vague threats has yet to yield meaningful progress. His repeated warnings have rung hollow as Putin continues escalating attacks. The world now watches for what comes next: a trilateral summit with Zelensky, a Moscow meeting, or continued stalemate. For now, Trump's threats risk becoming just another chapter in a war with no end in sight.